Hey guys, it's me, Mike. So, I'm standing here in my basement. It's about, I don't know, 8 o'clock at night here on Wednesday night. What day is it? The 15th of May, I think? Yeah, it's on 16th. Yeah, 16 or 15. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Anyhow, here's something that I wanted to bring up. I'm building a railroad here in my basement, as many of you know. And it looks like I have my own country down here. This is a building I built a couple weeks ago. It's a vending machine company. You can see they have a rental van. And then, anyhow, this is was supposed to be a locomotive diesel shop, but I'm gonna make it a cheese company instead, I think. That's one of their trucks from the cheese company's private fleet. And that's the taxi cab garage right there. And then that's going to be an old school Dairy Queen. That's actually the building that this is modeled after, which I know that thing is awful looking, but it's actually this building here, which is the Dairy Queen on East 200th and Tracy Avenue in Euclid, Ohio, if any of you want to know. So that's how that is. So anyhow, here, this is building one of what's going to be. I'm going to put another building over there. That's going to be the Sherwin-Williams plant. You can see we have it written down, the space allocated. And that is their private fleet. As you can see, we're modeling the 1990s pretty good. I think we've got the 90s down pretty accurately. Look, there's a Ford Aeromax 10-wheeler, and there's some 40-foot and 48-foot trailers. Then there's another Ford Aeromax that's hauling cheese. That's part of the cheese company's fleet. This is also part of the cheese company's fleet. That truck's going into New York City. Bus station, restaurant. That company over there, Northern Ohio Group, is actually the modern-day equivalent of what would be considered Con-Sun Food Industries, which we've talked about in length before. Con-Sun Food Industries was a convenience store company out of Elyria, Ohio. They owned a chain of convenient food marts, and they did their own fluid milk processing. The company is not what it used to be by any means. These are a couple of their older units. They've gone downhill quite a bit and sold off. They only own maybe 5 convenience stores. I think at their height they owned 22 or 21. Now they only own like 5 or 7 of them. So then they don't. They used to deliver door to door to people's houses, and they would buy meat and stuff at the agricultural auctions, and have their cows and stuff sent to butcher, and you could get fresh meat from them. But those days are long gone. Brewery. Anyhow, something I wanted to talk about was, I don't know. Here's my Dairy Queen restaurant right there. That's the DQ Chill and Grill. I have, in this spot right here, next to the bus station and in between the Dairy Queen, I have this model. This is the last model that I have to build. I've built mostly all of them now. I had a stack up to there. Now I'm down to just this one. This is the modern day travel center. Car wash, truck, diesel, fill up, car fill up, all that good stuff. You know how, I don't know if, like Mike 77, out in Oregon, I don't know if you have it, but here in Ohio, it's more common than I would have thought. We have a lot of combination, like, truck stop Dairy Queens once you get out into, like, more rural Ohio. And at first, when I was going to do this, I was going to have the travel center separate from Dairy Queen. But now I'm wondering if I should just have them all in the same all in the same land mass. The Dairy Queen's always going to be a separate building, but I was wondering if they should just all be in the same parking lot. Because, like, here in Ohio, we have a lot of truck stop Dairy Queens. It's kind of interesting. There's one near Wilmington, Ohio. There's all sorts of them. One of the drivers at my work, well, he was in my yard. He works at our Akron yard now. He worked for Avalon Food Service from Canal Fulton, Ohio, and they do all the Dairy Queens because Dairy Queen can be seasonal. Like the Grill and Chills, I think, are open all year round, but some of them can be seasonal. Like that one that I showed you in Euclid, that one closes over the winter. And while Dairy Queen is actually a wholly owned subsidiary of Berkshire Hathaway Corporation, which also owns McLean Food Service, McLean doesn't do Dairy Queen. And I always asked, I said, why doesn't McLean do Dairy Queen? They're owned by the same parent company. And I guess the reason being is because Dairy Queen is seasonal, it screws up McLean's operation and it makes their routing harder, so they don't bother with it. So that's kind of how that goes. But what I was wondering is if I should combine the gas station and the Dairy Queen together on the same plot of land instead of having them separate. Because here in Ohio, like I said, we have a lot of Dairy Queen, truck stop Dairy Queens. There's one near Wilmington, Ohio. There's a bunch of them once you start to get out there. I never realized how many there were. Like I said, one of our drivers who used to work for Avalon Food Service, he told me he's literally delivered to every Dairy Queen in the state of Ohio. How's that for an accomplishment? So I thought that was kind of interesting. And actually, what's funny is I think as far as fast food restaurants go, Dairy Queen's fairly overrated. Every Dairy Queen's a little bit different, but generally speaking, they're hot eats. In the 90s, their slogan was "Hot Eats, Cool Treats. We treat you right, Dairy Queen." That was what their slogan was in the 1990s. In the later on, it was just the Grill and Chill. It's not fast food; it's fan food. Blah blah blah. I will say this about Dairy Queen, and my grandmother actually was the one who brought this up. The Dairy Queen Grill and Chills, their hot food is pretty legit. It's a little higher. It's definitely higher quality than like your McDonald's or places like that. It's certainly much more fresh, and the offerings are a little bit better. In fact, the more I think about Dairy Queen, it might be dinner tomorrow night. We'll see. So it's a little different. They're definitely probably underrated as far as a place where as far as fast food restaurants go. Their chicken fingers, that's actually pretty good. They're not real greasy. They're not overly breaded. Well, I mean they're good. They're legitimately good. I mean their food seems a little bit fresher. It does. I think for warm food, Dairy Queen is definitely a little bit overrated. Their burgers and stuff are good. You can definitely tell they're cooked fresh off the grill. They have their warm food is pretty decent and they're probably underrated a little bit. So that's all. I was wondering if I should combine the Dairy Queen and the gas station together. I don't know if you guys out west have a lot of truck stop Dairy Queens. We do here in Ohio. There's more of them than I thought. I didn't realize it until I went to Cincinnati this past weekend, but there's more of them than I had really ever thought. I didn't really pay much attention to it because the company I work for, we don't do a lot of places like that, and that's we have a chain division that would go to those places, but Dairy Queen we don't have dairy. We don't really do a lot of fast foods. Although I guess we do Culver's, but anyhow, although they're not really around here. Although I guess they were supposed to build one in Avon, Ohio, but I don't know. Anyhow. That's all. Let me know if you guys have a lot of truck stop Dairy Queens out west, but we have them here in Ohio and in the Midwest. So that's all. All right. Let's see. Anything else? No. The God Terminal's done. We added a now hiring sign. I figured that made it more more realistic. I hacked together that sign. So that's all. But all right. Have a good day, guys. Bye bye.